Welcome back to Comic YOUniverse, the only nerd-centric thing you need in your life, and welcome back to the 31-day Halloween movie challenge, 31-day Halloween challenge, and yes, I'm fully aware that we are a few days behind. We've got some days missing. We're trying our best. We're only human. This is not an easy thing to do on a daily basis. So yeah, DPZ riding solo once again, and this time I'm going to be talking about another 80s cult classic film, much like I did with Rawhead, and I'm going to be talking about a real 80s cult classic. And that is Critters. Now, Critters came out shortly during or before, depending on who you ask. The film was conceived, according to the director, before Gremlins went into productions. But for all intents and purposes, it is a cash grab from New Line Cinemas, which is, of course, under Warner Brothers, so there's no real argument there. This movie made 4 sequels as opposed to Gremlins 2, but we're not here to talk about the, Critters versus Gremlins debate. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this nice little science fiction comedy / dark horror. And, yeah, it's pretty fun. Sometimes, on a good day, it's really hard for me to say which I like more, Gremlins or Critters, because I definitely like both. Critters, it commits to what it is, to the story. And if you don't know what the story is, let me explain. The story is centered around a small meteorite crashing to Earth, same as, most 50s horror films, and this 80s film parodies that, and out come these carnivorous creatures that have escaped, and now a group of bounty hunters are hired by this alien to go and exterminate them from the Earth populace. And these critters consistently eat people and have cornered a small backwoods home, a small farmhouse, and the family inside. There's some great kills, some great comedic moments, and some great carnage in here. This movie also has some great horror pedigree to it. You've got the Chiodo brothers who did the monster effects. The Chiodo brothers, of course, being the ones behind the emperor of cult classic 80s horror films, the killer clowns from outer space. You've got Dee Wallace and Billy Zane, both horror alums as it is. Of course, Dee Wallace being in multiple horror films and one of the main female horror heroines out there, and of course Billy Zane, again another horror classic. And you also got Scott Grimes. You've got Don Keith. And, fun fact, in the third movie, it was the introduction of Leonardo DiCaprio to films. Yeah, get that around your head. Leonardo DiCaprio literally got his start from Critters 3, but we're here to talk about the first film. The first film is, I would say, definitely a dark but comedic film. It does definitely play on the tropes of what a lot of science fiction movies in the 80s were doing, was basically playing an homage to the 50s era of horror sci-fi films, in that something crashes to Earth in a small town, in a small sleepy small sleepy American town, and shit happens. But this one is a little more fun with it. This one knows that we're playing with puppets. We're playing with little furry demonic Furbies, essentially. And this movie fully embraces its real comedic cheese. It indulges itself on consistently making fun of itself, but not to the point of being ad nauseum, where it's not like, oh, isn't this movie so stupid? Aren't you having fun? It's more like, hey, look at these weird fucking things. They're terrifying, but also, you can laugh at them. We're having fun here. If anything, it's a lot like, a more in a weird cosmic kind of way, Critters is a lot like another horror film, Dog Soldiers, which features werewolves trying to break into a house, but instead of a family, it's a group of soldiers. Which, honestly, now that I think about it, I'm probably going to do going to talk about this during this month. I'm gonna have to mark it down, and yeah, Dog Soldiers. I'm gonna have to talk about that because that's honestly one of my favorite horror movies. But we're getting off topic. The film definitely, the other thing that I think saved this film from being too campy is that everyone plays it straight. Yes, we're fighting, giant, mini alien furballs. But the point being is that it's a very nice family story. It's a great family story. Dee Wallace, I think, is definitely the high point of this, as well as Billy Zane. I think both of them are great. There's also the very catchy song of Power of the Night, which incidentally has a weird way of helping out in the film because one of the bounty hunters turns himself into the lead singer of that band. Actually, no, I think it's not even a band. I think it's just one dude. So he turns himself into the rock star, and yeah, it gets weird. It gets weird, but again, everyone plays it straight, and I think that's what makes it so much fun to watch, is that everyone's playing, we're playing straight with this, and my favorite part of the film, actually, is when, I think it was Dee Wallace who plays the mom, comes out with a shotgun and blows away one of the critters, and the other one standing next to it says in its language, "Fuck!" and runs off. That's my favorite part of that whole movie. Because it's just like, yeah, if you saw your buddy get blown to bits by an angry mom with a double barrel, you'd fuck off too. Yeah. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out Critters. It's bloody, it's fun, it's campy. If you enjoy that kind of era of sci-fi cult films, look no further than Critters, because this movie, commits to what it is 100%, and it doesn't stop. So, yeah. So as always, hope you all enjoyed this. If you're new here, you guys can hit the subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications, and as always, share with your friends and family of our channel, because we're always trying to grow. And yeah, it's really, sorry. Anyway, so comment below, let us know what you guys thought of the movie, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and we'll see you once again in the universe.